hole. It's the morning after this happening, and I still don't have a plan. So I don't really know what this episode is going to be about. But what I do know is, whatever the plan will be, that's dead. So I need to take it all out. So first things first, let's undo everything we've done in the past 3 episodes, and also take this car completely apart. Fetch me my spanners, Timmy. You join us at the end of what has been an interesting day. We have now fully stripped my BP4W, and it's catastrophic. As we all knew it was catastrophic,
yeah.
But this is exactly how catastrophic. So we had the hole in the block. That has been caused, without any level of debate, a bent rod.
Yeah, the rod's failed.
So the rod has basically failed. During its reign of destruction, has managed to crack the piston in half.
Yeah, the rings are literally
Straight down the middle,
holding the piston together and the wrist pin.
During that time, it has then taken a brief holiday south, smashed a hole in the side of the block. It's also smashed a hole here into the coolant gallery, which is why we had a 50-50 mix of coolant and oil when I drained it. I was going to say incredible enough. I'll stand corrected. It's done the bore completely. So we're going to crack down the board as well, which basically the block's right off. Is what we're getting to there. Absolutely humped.
Yeah. The interesting thing about this as well, though, is the other 3 rods look absolutely fine.
Yeah, the bearings are mint. Everything else is mint. Even on that, I mean, it's like the condition of it out with the obvious fatigue is pretty good. So what we've learned from this, having had a look, I'm going to flash a picture up on the screen now. It's a 1.6 versus a 1.8 rod. So everyone sells these kits for MX5s. If you're not forging a 1.8, do not think you're getting away with this. That's a weak.
Yeah, so the thing was, is like Brian, everybody knows obviously Brian's MX5, that ran the same power as this. And that has ran like that for well over a year. And it's basically shown no signs of
no signs of stopping. Absolutely pulls like an absolute champ.
This lasted a week.
And it's really, really went wrong. Now, bear in mind as well, I probably haven't actually talked much about what went wrong. Like, I was at 3.5, 4K. This was not bouncing off the limiter.
Yeah.
This was building up boost on an on-ramp to a motorway, and there was traffic in front of me, so I wasn't
not
going
even full throttle. Yeah, it's like,
and it has gone.
It's almost as if this has been already bent and it's on the way out, and then that's just been the final. Just a wee bit of acceleration's been enough to kill
the
it.
edge. So, and over the edge it has went. So what we are going to do about this is, I have 3 weeks.
We're a bit of a time crunch.
So the obvious thing that I'm sure everyone watching right now is going to say is, oh, fully forge it, build a monster. I don't need a monster. I've got a Supra. And we don't have time, and I don't actually have the money. Like, this is meant to be the cheap competitive car. There's a low cost and a Supra to build. This doesn't need it. But I would be absolutely remiss to just put a stock BP4W back in this and think it's going to work.
We know that's not going to work. Like, we've now proven that. This thing was running like 7 PSI, peaked up to like 9.
Yeah.
It's not
so we're like under a bar of boost and it's melted.
It's hardly any boost at all.
So we're going to semi-build an engine to go back in. Now, luckily, Ian Reid, who has the Indy RX5 that you'll see in previous videos, has a plethora of old MX5 lumps kicking about.
Really
As you can see here, quick pan, we have got what we've started into good-ish pile, moving over to maybes, and then in the corner, Naughty boys.
Yeah, we've actually got so many bits we've had to file
We've had to
them
start
into like a
filtering
system.
what could be good and what could be bad. Obviously, this is going to bin because it's absolutely ruined. There's nothing on this that I'm going to save. The problem is that rod, having went, will have touched the crank. I don't know if the crank will be microscopically bent. Doesn't matter.
Really
It's
not
done.
using it.
It's annoying as well because the crank journals are all mint.
All the bearings are literally like, you know, as if you'd ran the thing for 1,000 miles and pulled it apart. They look perfect.
Right down to the timing belt that I've done 2 weeks ago. Can't reuse that because it's going to have been sitting under so much load and torque with this that it's a danger to put it back in the engine. So I'm going to have to build this basically with all new parts. So it's going to need a fresh oil pump. It's going to need obviously one of these blocks. We're going to put forged rods in this because that's the only way. There's no way a stock set of rods is going to take anything now.
Yeah, we need to do like, it's a bit of a balance. We know the pistons are strong, so ideally what you do is the rods are the issue, so we'll just do the rods.
Yeah.
But the problem is you can't really just do the rods. You end up, everything that you need to do to build the engine back up, which is bearings, oil pump, studs, gasket.
Yeah.
So.
And yeah. Luckily I think the head as well, annoyingly, when the rod went, it's knocked the piston into the top of the head.
It's hit it in multiple places, so like
we could save the head. We could maybe run the risk in the head. We've got a spare head. So
yeah, luckily Ian's gave us a head that has had valve guides, stem seals, and all the valve flaps.
And, and he spun a rod.
Yeah.
And then like nothing else.
So the head is perfect.
The head on that one's going to be ideal. We've got another block which will be ideal. So we're gonna get moving. But first of all, I'm going to go home and have a little cry. The doom pile.
Yeah. Look, bearings are mint.
The bearings annoyingly are.
Look at them.
Absolutely mint.
Like brand new. Shame about the hole in it. Just do a strength test, see how strong the cylinder walls are on these. Not that thick.
Ah, yes.
Quite thin.
They're quite thin. They will not take lateral force from a hammer. Because that happens a lot.
Test that.
Happens a lot, that, yeah.
I genuinely want to see how thick they were.
Yeah. Well, they were thin enough to crack when slapped with a rod. Where is it? That was the top. Is it that
I don't
one?
know, that's what I wanted to see. I wanted to actually see if I could.
Yeah, that one has slight crackage.
Lined up. Tommy's going to use his special
Piston.
this is the piston ring compressor.
Howdy. In. That's fine.
Fine.
Think it moves?
Okay, that's good. They're all seated.
There then.
Might seep a wee bit past the rings, but
Well, that's turbo.
it'll be okay. It'll be okay once
That's the ring gap for turbo.
once it beds in. See, once it beds in, it'll be fine.
Player 3 has entered the game. So, don't ask me why, but for some reason I completely forgot that many moons ago I bought a Mark 1 1.8. I don't know why, because clearly it was not compatible because it's a Mark 1 and I've got a Mark 2 and a Mark 2.5. So ever since it's been living under there, and we did a wee quick chat on this when we were discussing head differences way back when we were doing a head, also something that we've completely failed to complete, but let's not dwell on that. So what I have now had a wee research on is the BP, which we have a BP4W and a BP6D in a low cost. BP denotes block. That is the block pattern, fucking.
Basically, the blocks are all very similar.
So, if it says BP, it's pretty much the same block. There are some subtle differences, but what we haven't covered is the Mark 1 1.8 and the Mark 2 1.8, more or less identical from the cylinder head down. This is important for our quest at this stage, because now I've just realised I have the answer to all my problems sitting right here, because what this engine has is a complete running history, and yes, we cut the belt on it, but the bottom end is untouched. Now what that means is we have a bottom end that we know rotates and is built and doesn't have any dramas. All the other bottom ends that we have sitting around here for possible solutions require building. Now,
we're out of time. We are out of time here.
This is going to be the most important thing before anyone starts browbeating us for not putting a forged engine in here. I have got now less than 3 weeks. So what we have the option of here is we take the bottom end of this, which I think the only difference in the crucial one is that it's a 9-to-1 and not a 9-to-5-to-1.
9-to-1, so that will drop the cylinder pressure a wee bit, which will help.
Us, right? And we have a good BP4W head, which can go straight on this with a standard gasket kit, and that engine now suddenly runs, goes back in the car in a timely fashion, and I can race in 3 weeks' time. We do still have the option of building a Ford engine.
There's all the parts to do it, yeah.
And I'm not saying that's not going to happen. In fact, it's more or less.
It's probably going to happen.
Going to have to happen. But what this does is gives us a stopgap. So we are going to very, very quickly chuck together a solution.
We'll just turn the boost down.
Yeah.
And make it so that this will last.
Yeah. Plus, having a lower compression means that it's not going to start spooling up and giving itself
It might be a wee
where
bit laggier as well with a wee bit lower compression. So
it just has to last a couple of races, and we will make it weak in its performance to enable that to happen so that it will not kill itself.
Yeah, I mean the key thing is here is we made, when it was on actuator pressure on the dyno, it made like what, 180 or something?
Yeah, 190.
190. So
which is already more than enough for me to be able to do some damage with.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is remove all of the Mark 1 superfluous nonsense off of this, and we're going to sympathetically and consciously list it all on eBay so that everyone who has a Mark 1 MX5 has a chance to buy it. No, it's going in the bin. I have had this listed for weeks, if not months, and nobody cares. So it is all going in the bin.
Yeah, we literally do not have the space
or the time or the mental competency to deal with that.
No.
So bin, like injectors, low impedance, crap, old bin. All of this nonsense that is not needed will not be kept. Continuity error.
You may know this, so this one's back on the engine stand. Why is this one back on the engine stand?
Well. So
that good, clean, running MX5 Mark 1 engine.
Yeah, so we found some crimes.
Some crimes.
Crime number one was during strip down phase, we uncovered a core plug. Just
not attached anymore.
Just being a core plug here.
Yeah.
And then, during the removal of the head phase, we discovered that a lot of the bolts in the head wouldn't come clear because, there's usually dowel pins that locate. Yeah, 2 of them seem to be on, and then 3 of them, and then 4, and then 5, until I realised, wait a minute, there should only be 2 dowel pins to locate the head. Why have I now found 5?
Why are they all crushed?
Crushed, and why do they don't crush? And then when we were inspecting the block, we'll get to the rest. So I had looked down the bores where the bolts go for the heads and discovered what looked like helicoil style nonsense at the bottom. Bit more digging, a bit more chiseling, and it's valve stem seals. Every single one of the head bolts has a valve stem seal either buried into the shaft of it or impacted into the bottom in a way that would cause eternity a level of constipation. It is it's ruined.
I've never seen anything like that. And the interesting thing was when you went to crack the head bolts, some of them were basically loose.
Yeah, so this thing has had a head gasket roast so severe and has then been rebuilt by somebody who wouldn't be trusted around children. They've killed this completely in fixing it. So it's had the world's worst head gasket job done. We then went, we could persevere. So given what we'd found with the history, we decided to take the main bolts and the rods off. Rods are now 20 minutes away from spinning a shell.
Yeah, the shells had absolutely no
Tangs
pinch
are
left. You could just spin them.
So the tangs are gone, so that's fine. We'd be like, right, okay, we could use some different rods. And then we thought, belt and braces, just check the main caps and see. They're gone.
Yeah, toast as well.
Toast, absolutely. So this engine has been roasted. It's never had an oil change in its life. I bought this as to do literally for a backup, so I'd have something like this, and I'd been as well just taking every single one of those £100 notes and sifting it through the drain.
Yeah.
So there is positives. What we have managed to take from this is an oil pump, which is in good condition, and we can possibly reuse that. We've also got a sump that's not full of debris, so that's good. We now have workshop space because that was occupying a nice wee bit here under the bench,
Which is full of MX5 bits.
and some SR bits for some random reason. So now we're back to phase one, which was Ian's block that he dropped off.
This is the best we have,
So this is-
in terms of condition.
Now, just this is a BP4W block, so it's already compatible with everything. Squitters are good. This was rebuilt by Ian until it decided to throw a rod. Fine, we have a spare crank.
It was just the bearings.
Rod bearing.
Yeah, just the
Rod
bearings. Didn't actually like
Yeah,
grenade.
it started doing the knock. So looking at it, it's in really good healthy condition. The only issue we're going to have with it is there's a slight bit of pickup on the bore where that rod was, which we're going to try and hone out, and hopefully that will resolve the issue. Other than that, we've got a good base.
Yeah.
The problem with this is it's a base. We need to get all the shells, we'll need to get all of the kit to build it, we'll need to do all the thing. And that's going to be at the mercy of online sellers who may or may not ship me these parts.
torch.
The torch is there. I thought I was getting a Hail Mary with that, but it turns out nobody answered my prayers.
Yeah. The thing is, this is basically going to be we just need an engine to go
so
racing.
I'm not forging this. I'll just come out the paddock with that right now. From the BP from the Mark 1,
That's a good point, yes.
That's the other thing we saved. The pistons. So the BP on the Mark 1 1.8, that comes with 9-to-1 compression pistons, and they are visibly different. So they've got a lot less crown on the top, and that's good because that means it will drop the compression. So we're going to use them with new rings and a decent set of rods and a decent set of shells. We're just going to build an engine, but it's not forging it because
Yeah, it's basically a mix of the best bits that we've got.
I'm not YouTube famous. Everyone who doesn't bother subscribing and sharing the videos, this is what happens when we don't get YouTube money. I can't afford to do that, so it's
Yeah,
not.
there's also the thing as well of that if you're going to start doing rods, then you're going, well, you wouldn't run that with a set of forged pistons.
No.
You'd have to get it bored out, so then you'd be like, right, half mil oversized pistons.
Yeah, once you
blah,
forge
blah,
a full
blah.
engine, there's a whole thing that goes with it. And
It goes down the whole route of the SR, which is fine if you're not in a rush.
But I'm in a rush.
But we're in a
Even
rush.
if we were to forge it, we would forge the rods. We wouldn't bother with the pistons because they take 300 brake. I'm not going anywhere near it, so there'd be no point. But
Yeah.
I'm not even going to do the rods.
We just don't have time.
Do we have a time?
I don't know. I just don't think. I think there's just too many. There's too many things to do.
Yeah, but for the sake of ordering rods, we'll be putting rods in anyway. So, in a bit of a long-winded and over chat-hungry episode, I guess, we have established a solution to my sudden hole in the block. We are going to build a proper engine out of the other block, and apologies for the complete diversion on finding any other solution.
Yeah,
Of
and
which there was none.
Yeah, and it's getting. We started off with, we'll just throw a thing together so that we could go racing,
Yeah,
and then you got the fear.
I do have the fear. So, yeah. We're going to put rods in this.
Yeah.
Rods. So, thank you everyone for watching. Like, bell, subscribe, patreon.com/tools and track. I'll let you go off. I'll catch you next week. Drive safe.